Welcome back to the Superkick podcast for 2024. This is the round 13 review, and we start off with the Vengeance taking on the Scorpions at the surgery. And the Vengeance put up a valiant fight, but were unable to prevent the Scorpions stinging them in the tail, with Van Ruin, the match, and Harvey Harrison, the match winners, with 3 and 3 goals each, along with Pickett kicking 2 goals for, which is slightly inaccurate. Whereas Stengel and Bontempelli were the best for the Vengeance with 3 goals each. Final scores 81 to 101. Next matchup, it was the Vital Magpies, who were barnstorming into the top 6 against the lowly Pirates, who are struggling at the moment with injuries and with absentees due to buys, with Eric Hipwood being the best with 6 goals and Kerno 2. And other contributors, Higgins, Hoskin Elliott and Hugo Hagen, whereas the best for the Pirates was Guelphy and Bruce with 2 goals. Final score was 110 to 53. In the tight tussle between the Stars and the Mangoes, it was the Mangoes who continued their winning form with a 5-point win, with Larkey returning to form with 5 goals, Bailey with 2, Seth Campbell with a brilliant goal from the boundary with 2 as well, while Joe Danaher, inaccurate again, is costing the Stars games. He kicked 2 goals, 3. Simpkin, Rochelle and Warner are multiples. Lacking depth there with only 7 scorers there, the Stars. Final score 70 to 65. In the next matchup, it was the Quiche, who were second on the ladder, playing the Goldfest, who were 8th. And in an upset, the Quiche at Festival Park have been able to take out the win, with Darcy Fogarty and Dan Butler being the best with 3 goals each, while Heaney and Connor McDonald, as well as Zach Williams, continuing his surprising form as a small forward, were the best for the Quiche. It was 91 to 71, the final score. In the final matchup of the round, it was the top of the table Funky Balls taking on the Sheep at Bounce Stadium, and it was the Funky Balls who were able to continue their winning run, with Gunston kicking 3 and Lockie Neal kicking 2. But the main thing was that they had 8 scorers, whereas the Sheep were only able to find 6, with 2 of them not kicking any goals as well. So very inaccurate, also costly for the Sheep. Final score 71 to 48. Moving on to the ladder now, and after round 13, it is the Funky Balls on top with percentage. Then the Mangoes, a game clear of East Quiche, Vital Magpies, and Donny's Good. Goldfest as well, but significant percentage difference. Then the Sheep are 1 game behind outside the 6, along with the Stars and the Scorpions, with Pirates' chances fading here with only 5 wins, and Doctor's Vengeance pretty much out of it with just the 3 wins. Take a look at next week, and it's the East Quiche taking on the Funky Balls, the Vengeance in the BH Cup against White Line Fever, Boogie Woogie Sheep taking on the informed Donny's Good, Southeast Scorpions taking on the informed Vital Magpies at Casey Fields, the Scorching Stars at the Galaxy against the Goldfest, and the Pirates in the Brothers grudge match at the Ship against the Mangoes. In the BH Cup, it was Donny's Good versus the Rubber Gloves in a tightly fought contest early on, but it was Donny's Good if they were able to prevail with goal scoring capability, with Xavier O'Halloran being the surprise really with 4 goals. He was the difference here, with the Donny's Good making their way into the top into the top 4 for the semi-finals of the BH Cup, winning by 31 points. It's 113 to 82. Moving on to the SMS League now, and they're in a really tight, low-scoring contest. It was Rocket Rod who failed to get enough score on the board to beat the Bamboozled Asians, who, despite having 2 multiple goal kickers, was only able to win by 1 point to keep their perfect record against Rocket Rod intact. Final scores 46 to 47. In the next match, it was another tight contest with Mint and Mitt taking on the Rubber Gloves at the tin. And it was Mint and Mick who got revenge from earlier in the season with Jack Gunston kicking 3 goals. Meanwhile, for the Rubber Gloves, Elijah Hollins was able to kick 3, along with Hoskin Elliott 2 and Connor McDonald 2. Jack Darling's inaccuracy cost the Gloves here with 1 goal 3, along with Hawkins' 1 goal 2. Final scores 85 to 82. In the next matchup, it was the Flying Fortress taking on the A-Track in another tight contest under a goal. The margin, 5 points, in fact. It was Nick Larkey's 5 goals for the A-Track, returned to form, and Darcy Fogarty's 3 goals too, which could have been more, got them over the line. Meanwhile, Jake Waterman and Dan Butler were able to kick 3 for the Fortress. Final scores 99 to 104. In the next match, it was the Wobbly Kickers who put up a competitive effort this week at the Windy Hill in front of their home fans against the Free Smoke. And it was Eric Hipwood who did that with his 6 goals too. Was the real lone goal kicker for the Wobbly Kickers, but it wasn't enough, with the Free Smoke finding more avenues to goal and ending up winning by 21 points, 80 to 101. In the final game of the round, it was the White Line Fever, who were on top of the ladder, or almost actually, they're second, beat the Walsh Dogs by 19 points, 95 to 76, with Joel and Marty being the best for White Line Fever, while Papley and O'Halloran kept the Walsh Dogs in it. They just didn't have enough goal kickers. Final scores 95 to 76. Moving on to the ladder now, and in fact, the White Line Fever is top based on percentage, with the Pokebombs having a bye this week. They're both on 9 wins, with the Bamboozled Asians on 8 wins, with a very poor percentage. Then the Free Smoke with 7, Rocket Rod with 6.5, Mint and Mick with 6, Rubber Gloves and A-Track also, and Flying Fortress also with 6, the Walsh Dogs with 5, and the Wobbly Kickers lowly in last with 1.5 wins. Looking at next week's round 14, we have the Rubber Gloves taking on the White Line Fever, and the White Line Fever also in the BH Cup against the Vengeance. The Walsh Dogs take on Rocket Rod FC. All Out A-Track take on the Mint and Mick. Bamboozled Asians take on the top of the table Pokebombs, and the Free Smoke will take on the Flying Fortress. The Kinder Surprise for this week could have been between 2 players. Either it was Eric Hipwood, who's a special mention, and Xavier O'Halloran from the GWS Giants.
Shit like Bruce Award.
Goal this if he goes.
Drives it long. Winners!
Before crossing the back of the goal line.
No.
This is on the scoreboard.